Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the Avid Audio Community plugin. This is our very first live stream webinar, whatever you might want to call it. This is our very first time trying to do this, and we wanted to host something and really just engage with our community. We've got a lot of great users all over the world, so thank you guys for joining us. My name is Greg Chin. I am the audio evangelist for Avid. I'm based in Miami, Florida, and we're going to have a good time today. We've got some of our specialists who are based in other parts of the world. So we've got Simon Sherbourne, Jeff Comer. I'll introduce them in just a minute. But wanted to say, again, thank you guys for joining us. We know that right now we find ourselves in a very unique and interesting time with the COVID-19 situation. First of all, we hope everybody is staying safe wherever in the world you are. Thank you guys again so much for joining us. Please, continue to stay safe. And we know that, certain things or businesses are trying to open here and there, and we just find ourselves in a very unique time. We're all working from home. I'm sure you guys are as well. And really the idea around this plugin is the ability for us to be able to spend some time with you guys. We want to make sure we answer your questions, inform you guys on what's been going on, which we're going to do here at the top of the hour. And we really want to hear from you guys, hear what you guys have been doing, any questions that you guys have. So let me just kind of take you through that right now. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see me okay. We've got a couple things that we're going to do today. So your host for today, myself, I've just introduced myself. I'm based here in Miami, Florida. I've been at Avid for almost 14 years. I'm also an electronic dance music producer. And I'm part of the marketing team here at Avid. We've got a couple other folks that are going to be here today as well talking to you. So at the top of the hour, we're going to go through just some of the stuff that we've been working on here at Avid. Even though we're all working at home, there's still a lot of stuff going on, and we wanted to share some of that with you. So up next, we're going to have Simon Sherbourne, who's based in the UK, and he's an application specialist, audio application specialist, and he's going to roll through, kind of talk to us a little bit about the latest update of Pro Tools, which is Pro Tools 2020.3. So he's going to be talking to us a little bit about that. And then we've got one of our amazing Avid solution specialists based here in the United States, in Madison. We've got Mr. Jeff Comer, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about some of the new hardware products that we've launched over the past couple of months, including the Uconn-based control surface, the Avid S1, and the brand new MTRX Studio, really amazing audio interface that we've launched. Now, we just wanted to catch you guys up a little bit on what's going on there. But after that, we're gonna, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. If you guys have questions on anything that Simon or Jeff talk about, we'll do a little Q&A at the end of each one of those sections. And then we'll have a general Q&A. The rest of the time, it belongs to you guys. So we want to make sure that we hear exactly, any questions that you guys have. So how to do that? You're going to be able to submit your questions. If you're new to Zoom, welcome. The entire world is using Zoom right now. You'll notice that you've got a menu bar, and you might see that you've got a couple of different options. You might see that you've got a chat icon or a raise hand icon. We ask you to just really focus on the Q&A icon. If you want to ask a question, you'll just simply click that button. A window will pop open. You'll be able to ask your questions there, and we're going to be taking those questions a couple different ways. We might be answering them live. We've also got a couple of moderators here with us, and I wanted to also say thank you and introduce Ms. Claire Sayers in the UK, and we've also got Gil Gowing from in Central Florida, who's here, who also manages the US team. You've probably seen Gil if you've ever been to a trade show. Pretty much anywhere, you've probably seen Gil out there. So Gil's here as a moderator, and he'll be helping to answer some of those questions as well. So thank you to them for being here as well. And we are now live. So again, if you want to ask a question, simply just post it right there in the Q&A section, and then we'll get to it throughout the course of the event. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is turn it over to our first presenter, and that's going to be Mr. Simon Sherbourne in the UK. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to mute myself here, and I'm going to turn it over to Simon. Simon, hey, what do you got for us?
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Greg. Hello, everyone. Simon in the UK here. So as Greg said, we definitely want to make this a conversation and hear from you guys. But we thought that while you guys are finding your seats and getting a drink and getting comfortable, it might be useful to take a few moments to show you some of the stuff that's new. So I'm going to share my screen and show you some things that are new in Pro Tools, or one thing really that's new in Pro Tools, which is folder tracks. So let's see if we have screen sharing. So what I'm going to do is we can test the raise hand function here. If you guys could see my screen, could you click the raise hand button? Look at that. Wow, my whole screen has just gone crazy now. Thank you very much. So I actually have a button here that says lower all hands, which makes me feel very powerful. So I'm going to do that. Thank you. Cheers. And hopefully you can hear me as well. We've got a sort of simple music session here. Let's play some sound. Thank you, Ivan, for letting me know. Cheers, and Rob. So yeah, it's a simple session here, just to show off the new folder tracks feature, which was in the 2020.3 release in March. And you can see that along the top here, I have my drums all packed away neatly into a folder, which we can show you. What I'm actually going to do to make it a little easier to follow is I'm going to quickly hide all these tracks, and I'll just show you how the folder tracks work using kind of from a blank start so you can follow along easy. So let's just make some tracks. I'm just going to create some audio tracks. I'm command double clicking into the empty edit window, and I'm going to make a folder for them. So there's a few different ways we can make a folder. The simplest way is to use the new track dialog. So let's do that first. Okay, so you'll see in the new tracks dialog a couple of new options, which is basic folder and routing folder. Now, I know that some of you say routing folder. Please forgive me. I'm going to stick with the British pronunciation. So let's start with a basic folder. So this is really just an organizational tool for simplifying your session and making things easier to manage and find. So there we go. It's a folder. Let's make these tracks a bit bigger. So I can actually just grab these tracks and I'm going to drop them in to this one. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so that's dropped those in. You can see that it's kind of moved them in slightly from the side to show that they are in a folder. And you can also see that in the tracks view. There's a little indication here. And I can now actually close that and open it. If we look at that in the mix window, you'll see that this track folder has no parameters, which indicates that it's really just there to hold some other tracks. Okay, let's try a routing folder. I'll hide these for a second. Let's make a couple more tracks. So this time I'm going to take these tracks and put them straight into a new folder, which is another option. So I've selected them. I'm going to right click and say move to new folder. And you can see that other folders in my project are also visible so that I could move tracks into those, but we'll go new folder. And this brings up a little dialog again. I can choose a basic or routing folder, and I can also choose to automatically route the signals from those tracks into this folder because it's a routing folder. So what that really means is the routing folder is like an aux track. It has I/O, it has insert slots, so I can use it to submix tracks as well as to organize them. So again, if I show you the mix window, now you'll see this track looks more like a normal track. It's got a fader, it's got inserts and sends. If you look at the I/O section, you'll see that these tracks have automatically been routed to this track via a new bus that's been created. Okay, so that's how that looks. Again, you can see there's a little graphical indication of these tracks being inside a folder. I can actually pick up a folder and drop it into another folder. And again, you'll see, I can just about see that this is inside a folder, and definitely very easily up here, I can manage the hierarchy of folders. Okay, let's clear these out and go back to my project. In fact, I'll just show this drum folder. So yeah, all my drums are in here. And you'll see this is a routing folder. I've actually got, if I show you my IO, all the drums coming through the folder master bus, and I've got some compression and some maximization going on there. And you'll also see that this indicator here is showing me an overview of the tracks that are inside the folder, so that I can very easily see what's happening. And I can actually edit from here if I want to. So I can, for example, just delete. Obviously that those are gone on the inside. One more thing, I want to show you what this looks like in a bigger project, but one thing to note is solo and mute works very intelligently in these folders. So for example, I can solo elements here, and you'll notice I can still hear them, so I don't have to solo safe the submix like you would with a normal aux. And likewise, I can solo the folder, and I'll still hear everything that's inside the folder, and you'll notice that it cancelled out the solos that were happening inside. So it's been very carefully thought out how to manage that stuff. Okay, let's have a quick look before we go to some questions at how we can use this to manage a much more complicated project. So this is a project that was mixed for Dolby Atmos. I've actually simplified it down to stereo. It was actually provided by Dolby for us, and it has a bunch of music elements and effects elements, no dialogue. Let me play you a bit. Okay, so again, we've used folders here to really simplify this project. So all of my music cues are in here and all my effects are in here. And actually, if I show you the mixer, we've essentially just got two master faders and my folders. If I look inside the folders, we've actually put all of the main sound elements into another folder and then just left a group master on the outside. Same for the effects. I've actually got three separate groups of effects, a master, and then a fader to control the sub. So if this was a kind of viewing or a final approval mix, you're simplifying it so you can just kind of balance the main kind of high level elements. If you then needed to get into the session and start looking at the individual elements, you can dive in, as you can see here. So there you go. So really just a quick overview of what we can do with folder tracks. I'm not going to get into it any deeper now because I'm sure you guys have got some questions. So I haven't kept an eye on the questions, so I don't know if you guys have been posting some stuff.
Yeah, so there have been some questions that have been coming through. Gil has answered quite a few of them. So we've had some questions specifically on like the routing folder. You know, how some of that works with automatic routing with drag and drop. Gil was able to answer that one. Did want to just really quickly, as questions continue to come in, give a quick shout out to the Pro Tools Facebook group. So that's nearly 40,000 members strong, and they are flying the Avid flag. So thank you guys. Shout out to the Pro Tools Facebook group. We have
Awesome.
a question here. So Pascal was happy to upgrade to 2020.3. Did have to roll back to 2019.12 because of an AAF import issue. All in all, new version is great. The new version was a bit sluggish and unstable for him. So when will that be sorted and fixed, basically? Do you want to take that one, Simon? I can take it as well.
If it was broken, yeah, I think I know what that was. Which I wonder if he's asking about the AF issue or something being a bit sluggish. I don't know. I'm not aware of that. Are you, Greg? About
yeah. So the AF import is known. That's being fixed right now. As far as the sluggishness, you know, really also depends on your system and what your OS, how much RAM you've got, etc. You know, we are working on a revision that'll, you know, basically kind of just a sturdy release that we're working on. We hope to have it out by the end of this month.
There's another question about QuickTime support We could answer that quick now if you like. So yeah, that's kind of coming in stages. So obviously we lost the ability to work with QuickTime on the Mac with the Catalina release, but that stuff is being rolled back in a little bit in each version. So 2020.3 brought back a few video codecs, and so I think each version as we go forward will bring a little bit of that stuff back. Somebody asking about ARA. We should maybe save those for
Yeah,
the general
Stefan, if you want to
Q&A.
ask that one later, there is an answer for you. We'll save that one for later in the general questions if you like. You can ask it again. To Blake, as far as OMFs, yes, that's being looked at right now, and the engineering team's working on that. Yeah, again, just guys, just a quick another reminder. We will be, there's going to be an entire portion. This is really for you, so you guys will be able to ask all the questions that you have outside of what's being presented right now. That time is going to be yours, so we'll make sure we address all of that at about past. So after we're done here with Simon, and I think we can take one more specifically on 2020.3, and then we'll move over to Jeff Komar. Okay, I think we'll Simon. Thank you. I mean, again, guys, we'll be able to answer some more questions. Any questions you've got, keep them coming towards the end. But during the time, where each presenter is kind of doing their thing, we ask that you kind of focus your questions on that. So here's one last one from Michael Sanchez. Is there any way to change the direction tracks spill from the routing folders, Simon?
Yeah. So no, in Pro Tools they will always appear underneath the master track folder. We don't on our control surfaces. They will open to the right. We're working on having a kind of spill functionality, and I'm not quite sure how that will look, whether you'll be able to choose to do that in either direction. I'm guessing that's what that question is referring to.
Yeah, so the one thing I'll say there is regarding folder tracks, what we've launched in 2020.3 is really just the first iteration of it. There's going to be a lot more that'll come online, as we go on, and we'll continue to add extra functionality and workflow to folder tracks. So this is just the initial launch of the feature. So much more to come there. Okay, I think at this time I guess we can take one last one, and then we'll move over to Jeff. Juan Salazar wants to know, if you leave solo on tracks inside the folders, then press solo on the folder, does it go back to the first solo state?
So if you solo the folder, it cancels any solos inside the folder, essentially to the next level down. If you've got folders in folders, then it kind of cancels one layer up at a time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, Simon, thank you again. We'll continue answering some of these questions as we go on. We're going to go over to Mr. Jeff Komar now, and I'll have him present a little bit about some of our hardware that we've been working on. Jeff, take it away.
Thank you very much. So welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff, and I want to take you through a little bit of a tour of some of the hardware that we released, as Greg said, over the past few months. We're going to talk a little bit about Uconn surfaces, but also want to dig into really the newest member of our audio interface family, which is MTRX Studio, which is super flexible. If you're familiar with Matrix, this is really like the baby brother of our full flagship Matrix, and it's got a lot of those same attributes in terms of being able to be a Pro Tools interface, having tremendous amounts of routing, and then also being able to really do comprehensive monitoring, which is one of the really exciting parts about it. Whether you're doing just stereo work or 5.1 or 7.1 or even Atmos, you can accomplish that with this box. So lots of I/O in a pretty small footprint, 1U box, and lots of different flavors of I/O. So obviously have the ability to connect a full 64 channels of DigiLink to HDX or HD native based systems, as you can see, 2 ports. We've got a lot of analog I/O on this as default, which is different from the base matrix configuration. There's actually 16 AD and 16 DA inputs and outputs on DB25 connections, as well as two channels switchable between mic and instrument. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail, but integrated mic preamps that are actually remote controllable in a number of different ways, as well as Dante IP audio, full 64 channels. We've also included ADAT optical, which might be an interesting choice for you might think, but people that want to augment the analog I/O, whether line level or mic level, it's a simple way to add a bunch more analog to your existing interface. So a lot of I/O on there. Let's take a look at some other ideas here. Part of really what a matrix is, it's this kind of Swiss Army knife of routing and I/O and connectivity. And this has all of that as well. It has a cross-point matrix, so 512 by 512. Again, so you can take any input and send it to multiple places simultaneously, which is super powerful. And then it's got this thing called Promon, which is basically the idea of a monitor, a control room section that you either load up or you build your own custom, and then you control it via Uconn. And that can be as simple as a Avid Control tablet, or that could be as complex as a S4 and S6 in a larger type of workflow stage. We've also got some super powerful features in this box as standard, including a subset of our SPQ expansion card option for Matrix. So literally we put some of that same DSP under the hood. So you've got 256 filters for 16 channels with the ability to basically do delays, bass management, all of that directly from this box. So you can essentially tune either your Atmos monitoring environment, your 5.1 environment, or a whole bunch of stereo control room and Q environments. So comprehensive monitoring. You can see we've got dual headphones right on the front. We've got a number of different analog outputs, both TRS and as well as DB25 that can be used for multiple sets of monitors. We have the ability to control the monitoring from the front interface, as well as from Uconn, as well as from Dadman. So there's really a lot of comprehensive control. And then you've also got things like foot switch inputs, which pretty clever, basically triggering talkback, doing a cut, a dim, a fold down, and they could actually be different on the different pages. You can customize all of that. So it's pretty smart. There's a lot of different ways to use this box. We tried to out of the box basically have it be pretty accessible, and you literally just start plugging in instruments and microphones and headphones and actually start working. And you can do that. We've got some preset monitor profiles that come again from stereo all the way up to Atmos that you can load and just literally start going. So this is just showing some basic connectivity with regard to music production, hooking up some instruments, hooking up, obviously in this case we're showing HDX TB3 via Digilink, full 64 channels. We're showing some stereo monitors, headphones, and then you can augment, if you want more headphone cues for talent, certainly add a Dante-based headphone box to the IP audio in there and expand your cue capabilities. Again, ADAT optical if you want to expand I/O, and then tons of analog I/O with regard to being able to use inputs and outputs, hardware inserts, additional cue mixes, lots of different ways to use this. And as Simon said, if you're doing Dolby Atmos, certainly whether you're working in the box using Dolby Audio Bridge or want to connect to a dedicated renderer, with running like Mastering Suite, you can do that here as well. You've got 64 channels of IP audio in the box that you can connect in that manner. So let's take a look at a little bit more detail about the monitor capabilities. And you're seeing right now basically a screenshot of Avid Control, which is our free iOS and Android app. And you can see I've got total control of all the sources, switching, summing, fold downs, cues, mutes, talkback, dim, all of that right from the tablet. So tons of control, and this is super customizable. So this is just loading the monitor profile, either that we provided out of the box, or you're totally dialed in, tweaked custom profile. And that's, again, super, super flexible. in terms of configurations, what can I connect this to? Well, there's a lot of different ways to use this interface. Certainly, as we said, a single HDX card, full 64 channels of I/O going in and out of the box, pretty straightforward. If you want a lot more I/O, you can double that. You can have two HDX cards connected for two Pro Tools Matrix Studios and get a full 128 channels in and out. You can also, as we did shown with our Matrix interfaces as well, you can also basically bridge this between two dedicated workstations, so HDX, HDX, or HDX, HD native, and literally have the ability to send audio between those two. So these are some of the configurations that you can leverage. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention, which is unique, you probably haven't seen this as opposed to our Matrix, our flagship product. There's a lot of metering and control and interface on the front of the box. And you can actually see 16 channel meters for analog, ADAT, and Dante, all right there, as well as whether you're looking at a control room meter, you're looking at a queue. So there's a lot of information that you don't have to do everything from Dadman or from Uconn. You can actually do it on the front of the box, including the remote control mic pre's. You can see I can control those. I can toggle. I can link channels for stereo recording. I can do phantom, phase, all of that right from the front of the box. And then all my control room, you can see obviously engaging fold downs and talkbacks and dims, and everything can be controlled from that front panel. And it is also totally customizable, so you can tweak exactly the way that looks. One of the things I wanted to mention, which is really exciting, the box has integrated Dante, as I mentioned, and it's using an IP core chipset, which allows us to do a full 64 channels of Dante up to 192 kilohertz. So basically full channel count up to the highest sample rates supported on the box. I want to segue quickly into S1, and this you're seeing now our control surface family, all powered by Uconn. And as I said, if you haven't played with Avid Control yet, I highly recommend going and grabbing it. It's free on the iOS App Store or on Android. Grab it. It's an incredible free control surface that runs on a device, on a tablet. So S1 is one of the newest members of the family of surfaces. We're super excited about this. It's literally this small footprint, expandable, high quality, touch sensitive device. And it's a great way in a small amount of space to start working and balancing and mixing, whether you're doing music or post. You can expand it up to 32 faders. When you pair it with the Avid Control tablet, you start to get into this world of like S4 and S6 style visual feedback, actually having gain reduction and metering and function curves and track colors and all of this. And it's really quite amazing, and it's a beautiful experience. There's a lot of customization too that can happen, and that's like you can basically set up all of these either physical functions on the actual surface or virtual functions on the tablet to optimize your workflow, whether you're doing markers or automation, or, capture, preview, back and play, clear solo. Any of that stuff can be tweaked and customized either on the physical surface or virtually, again, in Avid Control tablet. So you can expand massively with this. I can grow up to 4 S1s plus a dock, and then add up to add tablets to each of those as well. So you're actually seeing right now, basically showing 2 S1s, 16 channels control, and then two iPads in this view with the dock. And then the dock kind of becomes your central section, kind of similar to the Master Touch module on an S4 or an S6. So we've certainly taken those same concepts of color coding and visualization and track matrix, the way the data is laid out and all the function curves and visuals from our flagship surfaces. And that's by design. And so we really want to give you the best experience you can as you work and as you mix. And that's what this is all about. Avid Control, you're looking at, this is kind of a cool view. This is basically the split view where you're seeing tracks and then you're seeing functions simultaneously. And you can literally touch one of those tracks and then have the view to be able to pan to EQ, dyne, do input, control. For example, you could go and touch input and then control your remote control mic pre's on the Matrix Studio. One of the things that's pretty cool is we've actually worked with a number of the different third-party partners to support things like function curves, like being able to actually show EQ curves and gain transfer curves directly on the tablet and have that visual feedback as you're mixing. And you can get that from all of these third parties that you see here, McDSP, Waves, FabFilter, Sonic. So there's some really incredible signal processing plugins. if you're OCD like I am, it's nice to have industrial magnets built into the S1 so that when you actually start putting these together on your desk, they fit perfectly together and everything is lined up, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's kind of a neat little feature, which is having that integrated. Now, I kind of started alluding to Promon and this idea of, hey, you can actually just take an Avid Control tablet with or without, S1 dock, and you can control the whole monitor section of Matrix Studio, whether you're working in stereo or all the way up to, let's say 916 Atmos. You have all that control there. If you nest the tablet into a dock, now you have actual physical controls, which is pretty sweet. Basically, you have a real knob, which you can obviously attenuate and cut and dim. And then you can set up, fold downs and cues on physical switches. So it just gives you, it takes those actual assigned Uconn monitor functions and then pairs them with physical functions on the actual dock. And they're talking to the monitor section that you load or you build or you customize on the Matrix Studio. So again, Avid Control, it can work portrait, it can work landscape, it can work on an iPhone, it's iOS, it's Android, it slices, it dices. But one of the neat things about the platform, the protocol is, again, it's all based on Uconn. So this is not just Pro Tools, it's Logic, it's Nuendo, it's Cubase, it's anything that has supported that protocol to be able to use that device in that media environment, which is amazing. So I can flip to Pro Tools, I can flip to Logic, and I can do all of that, on my S6, on my S1, in my Avid Control, and it's really a great workflow. So just flip really quickly through some of the views. If you haven't seen this is channel view, this is mixer view. Again, the customizable soft keys, fantastic. We've got a wide amount of support too for various different devices. You don't have to have the highest end, iPad Pro, even though it is quite amazing. You can certainly have, there's a lot of other options that are certainly, if they're acting as a meter bridge, less expensive, work fine, look very good. And so you can certainly go to our knowledge base and take a look at what is up there. There's some amazing stuff. So that's a quick tour of some new hardware offerings from Avid.
Cool, thanks, Jeff. So we're going to go into some Q&A here, and I've got some questions, if you don't mind sticking around and helping us answer a few of these. So let me grab my Q&A tab here. One sec. All right, so we'll start at the top. Let's see here. So Joe Cozy, Joe, welcome. Wants to know, how is the conversion of the Matrix Studio in comparison to Avid's current best offering, which would be the Matrix? So what would you say there, Jeff?
I would say that in the small amount of time that I've had, I actually was able to do some recording, both voice, acoustic guitar, flute, a number of different things, as well as some percussion. I'm a percussionist. And I didn't directly A/B it from, I have a Matrix. I didn't directly A/B it to Matrix, but I was extremely pleased at the fidelity of the box. Really quite amazing. I did some records at 48K. I did some records at 192K. And I think it sounds incredible. So as always, these are subjective. I would encourage you to try, get your hands on one and actually do some recording. But I'm super stoked to say that I think it sounds amazing. And I own a Matrix, as a number of these other guys on the panel do as well. And I think it's absolutely stands up to that level of quality.
Cool, thank you. So Joe, follow-up question from Joe. If you're not using an iPad Pro, a smaller iPad, will channel graphics line up with the faders?
So yeah, you do need to be concerned with regard to when you start shrinking your device and you set it on the little bridge that's part of the S1. You're totally right. If you get too small, then you've got a correlation problem where it's kind of hard to see where the meter lines up. So yeah, there are some recommended devices, both Apple and Android, on our website, on the knowledge base, that we recommend that do line up fine. There's a lot of devices that work, but you're totally right. You can certainly choose a device. I can throw my iPhone up there and it works, but it's not correlated to the actual channels. So yeah, you have to be aware of that. And that's all documented in the knowledge base. Cool.
Thank you. And thank you, Joe. Let's see, Pascal would like to know, it's kind of a general question, but how would you use the Matrix with the S3? So that's really kind of a general thing.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, S3 is part of our family of Uconn surfaces. As is, Artist Mix is still there. Although you can't use Artist Mix and S1 together, you can certainly use, S3, S3 with dock, etc. So basically, this same concept of having a Uconn-controlled monitor section in Matrix is what we talked about. All of that can be brought up on the on the S3 as well. So you have the ability to actually look at the Uconn controlled information, which is essentially coming out of DADMAN, which will represent on faders on that device. So, your control room, your source inputs, your outputs, the channels for the inputs, the preamps, that will all actually manifest directly on the S3.
Cool. Thank you, Jeff. So we've got time for one more here, and then I think we'll jump right over to some of the other just questions as it pertains to other things. So Michael Sanchez has a comment here. I'd love a fat faders option in the Avid Control app. Would be great for extended control and resolution for the faders. Is that something that could be implemented? So you've just requested it. So we'll the product management team will be looking at this as well, and we'll make sure that we get that information, that request over to them. It's actually a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool request. Yeah, thanks, Michael. We'll get that over for you, and you know how to get me, directly. So hit me up. So guys, Jeff, thank you very much. What I'd like to do at this point is open it up. So we've got some questions that we've kind of held here for the general part of the plugin, which again is all about you guys. So I'm going to, Gil, Simon, Jeff, myself, we're going to answer some questions. So I'm going to start at the top, and William Duvet, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, asked about if we're going to be able to talk about audio plugins and maybe some improvements, and then he asked a follow-up specifically about mid sidechain processing. So I can take that one, and then we'll kind of go on from there. So obviously, there are a lot of things that we've got planned on our roadmap that we're not able to really talk about. What I would say is continue to watch this space as far as plugin improvements, and specifically as it pertains to side and mid processing, or mid side processing. It's something that we've had on the docket for a while. It's something that we've actually defined and have been wanting to work on. Obviously, with the situation we find ourselves in right now with coronavirus and COVID-19, a lot of our resources have been kind of moved over to making sure that things like cloud collaboration, remote workflows are all kind of where they need to be. That said, I believe that's still a plan for us to go and address this. It's something that I had actually requested a while ago from the Recording Academy, or from a lot of the producers and engineers wing. So it's it's something that we've got to come back to. So I would say watch this space. There are a lot of improvements that we're looking at, and that's certainly one of them. So we have a question about full Catalina support. This is from ND. They've got a brand new Mac Pro, very buggy with the latest OS. Matrix not really working with Thunderbolt box, but Ethernet. Might need some additional information there, but Jeff, do you want to take that one? I mean, it's not. I think we might need some extra information.
Yeah, I think we need a little more data, certainly with regard to Matrix, and is using HD native Thunderbolt, and yeah, let's maybe get some more data before we kind of jump there. Let's try a different one, and then if you want
Andy, if you can send us some extra information, OS, what your Thunderbolt box is, just some extra additional information that might help us kind of help answer that question. So are we planning on, so this is from Slam Andrews. Slam, you've had a few questions in here, so thank you for that. Are you planning on expanding Pro Tools I/O to support 512 by 512 instead of 128 by 128? If I only have 16 7.1 music stems with cues that overlap, so he or she needs an A, B, and possibly C set of music stems that go to outputs to the dubbing mixer. So basically, are we planning on expanding Pro Tools I/O to support 512 by 512? the only comment I can make is, again, as it pertains to roadmap, that anything that we haven't announced currently, we can't really speak about anything on that. Again, we're going to take all the requests that are here, and I'm sure a request like that lives in some of our other areas where folks are engaging with product management and engineering. So I'm sure that request already exists, but we'll make sure that we get it back to them. Michael Sanchez, love you guys. We love you too, Michael. Bob Bronow. Is it possible to map Atmos fader parameters to the S3 surface?
I can take that one.
Oh, go ahead, Gil.
Yeah, so you can, if you bring a Pro Tools panner to the bottom row of encoders in a channel view, on the bottom row of encoders, you can flip those down, and then you could basically then play around with the Atmos panner from the faders at that point. So yes, it is possible to do that.
Cool, thank you, Gil. Let's see, there's a lot of good questions coming in here. Let me Keith Elliott, when can we expect the next release of Uconn for handling folder tracks? Gil, you want to take that one too?
Yeah, so that's
basically imminent. Yeah.
It's
in late beta.
Yeah, so hopefully very soon. So we'll definitely have an update that. Just kind of be watching Avid link in your Avid account here in the next several weeks, and hopefully we'll have that soon.
Cool. We've got a question here. Air frequency shifter plugin not working properly. This issue I'm facing with Pro Tools version 11. I can make it only pitch up. If we make pitch down, then the pitch will go up only. Yeah, Pro Tools 2020 did not resolve this issue. When can I expect to see this problem resolved? Thank you. So yes, this has been a known issue for quite a while. We've reported this back to Air. We're waiting on a fix on there, and I wish I could say it was something that was built into it was a Pro Tools issue, but this is actually an issue with the plugin itself, with the coding there. So this has been reported. We actually went back and re-reported this back sometime last year in when we had an update of some of the plugin installers for 2019. We were in beta. We actually noticed that issue still was there. So we've reported it, and we're waiting on Air to they're aware of it, and we're waiting for a fix incoming from them. Thank you for that. Let's see. Is there a resource? So I'm going to kind of skip back and forth here. And of course, guys, if you guys see anything that you want to answer specifically, just jump right in. So another question from Joe Coetzee. Is there a resource available to adequately route audio through Zoom to be able to demonstrate Pro Tools sessions appropriately? I know we've been experimenting with some of that, but Simon, you want to take that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so that's what I was doing today. I'm using the Zoom driver that gets installed when you're running. The first time you try and share a screen and with sound, it installs a core audio driver or a ASIO driver, I guess, on Windows, and you can use that as the playback engine in Pro Tools. We've actually got a cool FAQ somewhere on the knowledge base that tells you how to set that up, and also how to do that as part of an aggregate device, which helps with clocking. So maybe I'll see if I can find that link and post it in the chat.
There's actually a number. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I'm actually using Source Nexus from Source Elements, which is another way to be able to basically create virtual core audio nodes that you can send to, and you can create multiples for for Skype, for Zoom, for for Google, and there's something called Source Nexus Control, and it literally lets you make core audio wires that you can send out of Pro Tools into. And so that's another way to do it. If you're sending just like for music playback, you should check out Listen To, Audio Movers Listen To, which is really cool. It's a way to basically stream audio directly out of Pro Tools IP. Great quality. That's another option if you're actually just trying to do a playback and actually let people listen to your mix. But there's a number of solutions.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Moving right along. So we've got some stuff coming in. I'm just jumping back and forth here. Blake, NX Numalo, thank you for track folders and the fact that you were yet to improve them. One, are there plans for clip folders? Clip folders.
I think that probably means folders in the clip list.
Probably.
Got it. 2, may you please increase channel count on standard Pro Tools to 5.1? And number 3, since Pro Tools Ultimate has gone to 64 video tracks, videos, may you please enable standard Pro Tools up to 12 video tracks? So Blake, thank you for your comments. We'll go ahead and send this over, these requests over to product management and engineering. Again, we cannot comment on anything forthcoming, but we are always listening to our users, and we'll make sure that this gets over to them. So thank you for that. Let's see. Johnny Garcia, when can we expect full support for virtual instrument installers like Expand and Air Instruments supported in latest releases of Mac OS Catalina? So for the Air virtual instruments, the same thing. I think Expand currently was updated for Catalina. We are waiting on Air for any current updates. So I will say that all the instruments currently do work in Catalina, so that's why you probably haven't seen the actual installers get updated. I know that there was initially an issue with Expand specifically trying, with the permissions for the install, but that was fixed. But all the instruments are working as they should in Catalina. So if there needs to be a fix or anything there, then Air will take care of that, and then we'll fold that into a new installer. All right. Thank you, Johnny. Let's see. Ivan wants to know when will there be an update in Uconn so that we can copy, paste, and drag soft keys. I don't have
It's
an
a good
answer to
question.
that.
So there's some third-party folks that have actually made some stuff, but unfortunately that only works for S4 and S6. And it's magical. It's literally drag and drop and take a group of stuff here and put it here. It's a very popular request. And again, this is not this is a third-party guy that did this, and it's really good. We'll take the feedback. We hear it all the time. It would certainly facilitate modifying, tweaking your soft keys if you had some more of a better UI to move things around. So we'll definitely take that feedback back to Eddie and the team.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff.
And for reference, the Sonic Monk is, and maybe you can talk to Sonic Monk. Maybe he'll build one for you. If you're curious about S4, S6, all that does exist, and that's Uconn Layouter with via Sonic Monk.
Cool. Thanks. So we've had a couple of questions here on ARA implementation into Pro Tools. I'll go ahead and say that's it's not just something we're looking at. It's something we intend on. Again, the situation as it is right now has really kind of caused us to have resources pushed into other places. But ARA is something that I think everybody wants, certainly anybody that's working on the music creation side of things. So yeah, Stefan kind of made a joke about, yes, I'm probably going to say watch this space. So yes, watch this space. There will definitely be something to announce there at some point in the future, hopefully the near future. But yes, know that it's something that's very important to us, and we're working on something. So I'll leave it at that. Pascal Zander wanted to know, Clip EQ and Comp is a great thing. Any plans on when we'll be able to put other plugins on clips? That's something that we've built an SDK for third-party inclusion into clip effects, and we'll just have to wait and see when we are able to kind of prioritize it and roadmap it and get that out to everyone. But yeah, that's a request that we get pretty regularly, and it's something we'd like to be able to address soon. This is an interesting one. I don't know if anybody here has an answer on it specifically. So Rob McClurg, any tips for better control on the Focusrite D3 comp? Anyone have any recommendations on that?
think we need more data. I mean, is he trying to control it from a Uconn surface? Is he looking at it in Dyn mode or in insert parameters mode, or is it just about clicking it from the plugin? I think we probably need some follow-up on that.
Yeah. So Rob, if you can just send a follow-up, maybe asking, letting us know specifically what kind of control you're looking for. I mean, as far as controlling in Pro Tools with enabling automation, that works without any issue. I've not used the D3 comp. I have an S3 here in my studio. I've not spilled it onto the surface to see what happens. I've not used it in quite a while. So yeah, if you can follow up with that question a little bit, we can maybe provide some additional info there. ND, I have a Thunderbolt HD box and latest HD driver, but got some issues with crashing all the time when they want to use the audio. This is an audio device. When they use Matrix only with an Ethernet, it's working and can work fine can work with Matrix. Their system has the latest Mac Pro. I already see part of the problem. OS X 15.4, which is not supported currently, and Pro Tools 2020.3. So the first thing to look at would be, there are some issues currently with that OS. So if you're on Catalina 15.4, it is not currently qualified. There's probably some additional information there, but that would be the starting point for sure. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on that. So yeah, I would just say, always make sure, guys, when you are looking at updating your OS, check back with us and any other, plugin developers or, whatever it is you're using, audio, video, whatever else. Just make sure that it's going to be fully qualified. As a general rule of thumb, as a best practice, all of us, here on the team tend to wait until we know that everything is pretty much working correctly, unless we're in a beta cycle for something. But we do tend to wait until things are baked nicely as far as OS until we go there. So, I mean, currently I'm on Catalina, but I'm on .3. None of us have jumped to .4. I think I do have one test machine that's on .4, but again, that's specifically just for beta. So,
hey, Greg.
Yep.
Can you read the Komolsky question, and I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it.
Sure. Let me stop share here. So David Kalmuski, source Nexus create notes accessible by OS X while using HDX playback engine, and the answer is coming from Jeff.
So basically, this is Source Nexus Pro, and that's actually what I'm using right now. Where I'm routing audio through that. And so not only can you hit any of those nodes, but you can also pull off any other hardware, core audio hardware that lives on the computer. You can see Black Hole, DisplayPort, Mac Mini. So I've actually created Zoom sends and returns. And there's the to Zoom, there's from Zoom and to Zoom. And yes, so Source Nexus Control lets you make the nodes. Source Nexus Pro basically lets you address the nodes.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff. So we're coming up. You've got 5 minutes left, and there's still a decent amount of questions coming in here. So we'll try and answer some of these. There is a poll we'd like to do here just to kind of get your guys' feedback on things you'd like to see here, and we'll do that in a couple of minutes. So we'll just answer a couple of these here, and then we'll try and type out some of the questions to some of your other questions. Do know that this is all being recorded. This will be available on demand as well, and we'll create kind of an FAQ of the Q&A, so we'll be able to address not only the questions we've answered, but perhaps some of the ones that we weren't able to get to today. And again, thank you guys for all your questions. You guys are certainly you guys are all a very passionate group. We are as well. So I know there's a lot of stuff that you guys want to see happening, and again, know that we are doing our very best to address all of our users' concerns and needs. For instance, ND, anything you can tell about new MIDI features in the next decade, with a monkey emoji with the eyes closed. So I can tell you, yes, you will have new MIDI features within the next decade. I'm a music creator. I work pretty closely with the product management team, specifically on music creation features. What I will say is that a lot of the features that you've seen, a lot of the small little nugget features in the MIDI engine and MIDI functionality and features that you've seen over the last year and a half to 2 years, really year and a half, that really is all there, obviously, to serve the purpose of giving folks a little bit of enhanced workflow, but it's also laying the ground flow for something that we're working on that's I would say fairly major that'll come next. So without saying too much, I don't want to again, we're not announcing anything new here, but yes, you will have new MIDI features within the next decade. All right, and so you can open your eyes again, ND. All will be okay. Let's see. I think we can take one or two more here, and then we'll jump to the poll. Patrick wanted to know when there will be an increased number of voices available also in HDX, like it is in HD native a while ago. Thanks. Watch this space. Product management team have been working very hard on quite a number of things, but in relation to that specifically, watch this space. I don't know if anybody. Well, there's really nothing to tell you right now, but in a relatively short amount of time, you'll have some information on that specifically. Let's see. Anything you guys want to take here? One or two last ones here. So we've.
Any plans to expand your YouTube training and feature videos, especially expanding the Learn to Use Pro Tools series? I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the Learn to Use Pro Tools series, Greg?
So the Learn to Pro Tools series was something that's a few years old already. What we have done is our audio pre-sales team worldwide have launched a brand new Tech Tips YouTube playlist, which is going to live in a few different places. But if you want to check that out, I think currently there's something like 54 short videos, and we're going to have some longer form ones, and then we're continuing to add new videos pretty regularly. So this launched just a couple weeks ago. So if you go to avid.com/Pro Tools Tech Tips, there's a litany of really good content there. I've been watching them and learning quite a bit myself. As it pertains to some of the longer form stuff, that's something that the marketing team is in discussion about right now. We'd like to definitely update that and have some new content launch. There is something on the educational side that we're actually launching, I think, this week. So there's going to be some new training material in the form of books, and I think there's some video content that goes along with that. So look for that from our educational department. There should be an announcement, I think, this week, if it's not been announced already. And again, sorry?
Yeah,
and I would
send a question.
Go ahead.
I was going to send a question to Gil, but finish up. Sorry.
Yeah, I just say make sure you check the Pro Tools Tech Tips. Again, that's it's a playlist right on our Avid YouTube site or avid.com/Pro Tools Tech Tips. And thank you to the amazing guys, Simon, Jeff, Gil, the rest of the team for creating some really great content there.
Thank you, Greg. Travis Duffield, this is for Gil. Any planned updates you can speak about for creating custom Uconn layouts via touch select on the control surface instead of inside Ucontrol?
No. Kind of the same thing. It's definitely something we're working on. So stay tuned to the next, hopefully this next release that we'll have coming out here pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. And hopefully we'll get that out here in the near future.
Cool.
And I was just going to say, there's quite a few people asking about expanded I/O count, Pro Tools native. So just thought I'd mention that we hear you, and we'll definitely feed that back. We're not ignoring that question.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Simon. So we've got just 1 minute left. There is a poll I'd like to kind of launch here. Again, guys, thank you so much for your time. We want to keep this kind of loose and fresh. We're going to continue doing these. We'll change and kind of pivot as we need to. But I'm going to go ahead and just launch a quick poll here to just kind of get your guys' feedback on things you'd like to see. And of course, some of you, I recognize some of you guys here in the chat. You've got access to us directly. Please feel free to reach out to us. For those of you who have our contact, anything that you'd like to see specifically. Let me go ahead and launch that poll. We'll leave it live here for a minute, and then we will call it a day. All right, I see that we've got stuff coming in. 40% of you have voted. So quite a number of you would like to see more about audio post workflows, so Dolby Atmos, etc. That's cool. All right.
Oh, look, music creation is fighting back on the poll in real time.
So while you guys are answering, and let me again, I know that everyone's working remotely, everyone's working from home. There's certainly probably a lot of frustration around what do I do, how do I do this, and what am I doing with my time, and know that a lot of the stuff that you guys are asking about, don't think we're ignoring it. We are absolutely looking to make sure that Pro Tools and the rest of all of our hardware and our software, whether it's Pro Tools, Sibelius, whatever it might be, that we address what your guys' needs are. One of the things to keep in mind is that we have a really huge net of users. So it's everybody from post, music creation, recording, editing. So it's not, these are not niche things. So it's quite a lot of, folks to serve, and we want to serve all of you. So please continue, being here with us, and we want to make sure we address that. So I think just about everyone's voted. I think we'll go ahead and end the poll here, and we'll share the results. And guys, again, I think we're over by a couple minutes here, but again, thank you for your time. We will be doing more of these, and guys, continue to stay safe, stay home, and stay creative. Whatever it is you guys are working on, wherever in the world you are, there'll be more of those. And again, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you to Jeff, Simon, Gil, to Wim, to Claire. Thank you guys for helping us logistically put this all together, and we'll do more. Guys, thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you.